This wasn't random. Epstein didn't stumble into victims. He selected them using a repeatable system, the same way organized predators do. Number 1. Age bracket, young enough to control. Primary targets, 12 to 17 years old, sometimes 9 to 17 years old enough to travel alone, young enough to be manipulated, brain not fully developed, poor risk assessment, high suggestibility. This wasn't about sex alone, it was about power imbalance. Socio-economic vulnerability. He overwhelmingly targeted girls who were from working class or poor families, financially insecure, living in unstable homes. Why? Money solves immediate problems. Families less likely to have legal power. Victims easier to silence with cash or threats. Rich girls don't disappear quietly. Poor girls do. Psychological traits he looked for. Not beauty, but compliance. Low self-esteem, need for validation, desire to feel special or chosen, authority-seeking behavior. These girls weren't confident predators' nightmares. They were emotionally malleable, broken or absent parental structures, high correlation with single-parent households, parents working multiple jobs, neglect, not abuse absence. This gave Epstein less supervision, fewer questions, more freedom to isolate victims. Predators don't fight with parents, they avoid them. This is where it turns industrial. Victims were encouraged to recruit other girls. Recruits trusted someone just like them. Reduced suspicion, distributed guilt. This tactic normalizes abuse, creates internal silence, converts victim into buffers for the predator. It's classic grooming escalation. Incremental disassociation. Nothing starts extreme. Step by step, innocent massage, slight boundary crossing, sexual exposure, normalization, escalation. Each step made the next one feel not that bad. This is behavioral conditioning, not temptation. Rewards plus threats, carrots and stick. Rewards, cash, gifts, trips, attention, threats. No one will believe you. You agreed, you will ruin everything. The victim is trapped between dependency and fear. Why reporting was rare? Not because victims lied, because the system worked. Shame was internalized. Abuse reframed as consent. Epstein's wealth and connections intimidated victims. When a child believes they are complicit, silence is guaranteed. Epstein didn't exploit girls because they were weak. He exploited systems that abandoned children. Poverty, neglect, power imbalance, silence. Fixating only on Epstein let those systems survive. Grooming psychology. Grooming is not flirting, it's behavioral engineering. Predators don't rely on desire, they rely on predictable weakness in human psychology, especially in adolescence. Trust before desire. Epstein didn't start by sexualizing, he started by stabilizing calm tone, non threatening body language, safe adult persona. The brain labels him as low risk before any boundary is crossed. Once trust is installed, resistance collapse later. Specialness illusion, a core tactic. You are mature for your age. You are different from other girls. Access to private spaces, plain money. This creates identity inflation. The victims now defends the relationship because it confirms their self-worth. Gradually boundary erosion. No sudden jump that would trigger alarm. Minor touch, no consequence. Slight sexual exposure, normalized. Explicit acts, reframe as already happening. The brain adapts faster than morality. This is desensitization, not consent. Authority plus benevolence trap. Epstein combined wealth, intelligence, connections, calm, demeanor. This trigger authority bias. If someone this powerful is calm, this must be acceptable. Power removes perceived danger. Cognitive dissonance lock. Once a girl accepts money or returns, her mind asks, why would I keep coming if this was wrong? To reduce discomfort, the brain rewrites the meaning of the abuse. This is why later testimony sounds complicated, not lying, psychological self-protection, shame implantation. He didn't need to threaten early. Shame does the job. Sexual acts framed as mutual responsibility, subtly shifted. silence encouraged. Shame isolates. Isolation protects the predator. Trauma bond formation. Reward plus violation in cycles create attachment. Abuse followed by gift or kindness. Fear mixed with validation. This fires the nervous system to confuse attention with safety. Victims don't stay just quiet, they stay emotionally entangled. Exit barrier construction. By the victims wanted out, they had recruited others. They had taken money. They feared being blamed. Leaving meant destroying their own narrative. That's not weakness, that's a closed psychological loop. The uncomfortable truth. Grooming works because it aligns with how the human brain protects itself. Epstein didn't invent this, he exploited it with money, time, and patience. Epstein and the people around him presented abusive acts as harmless activities. Sexual behavior was described as massage or work, so the victim would not immediately recognize it as abuse. When the language sounds normal, the behavior starts to feel normal as well. This prevented victims from identifying the situation as exploitation. The abuse was never extreme at the beginning and was increased slowly over time. Each boundary was crossed in small steps, so nothing felt shocking enough to escape from, because every step was only slightly worse than the previous one. There was no clear moment where the victim could say the line had been crossed. This gradual escalation made the abuse easier to accept. Seeing other girls doing the same things played a major role in normalization. When victims observed others complying without resistance, it created the impression that this behavior was expected in that environment. No one protesting made silence look like acceptance. This social pressure helped suppress doubt and fear. Money and gifts were given regularly to make the abuse feel like a transaction. When harmful behavior is tied to payment and repetition, the brain processes it as a job rather than a crime. Over time, emotional reaction weakened and the focus shifted to completing the task and leaving. This reduced the sense of danger. As the abuse continued, many victims emotionally detached from the situation. Reacting every time became mentally exhausting, so the nervous system adapted by numbing emotions. This detachment is often mistaken for consent, but it is actually a coping response. It allows the abuse to continue without open resistance. Eventually, responsibility shifted inward toward the victims. They began to focus on the fact that they returned accepted money or did not clearly refuse. This self made speaking out feel risky and confusing. At that stage, the abuse had been fully normalized and silence became easier than resistance.